Alright folks, welcome to The Zone. Today we're having a quick chat about Leicester 4, Manchester United 2. So just to begin, a lot of people are going to blame all of the players. They're going to say that some of the players were really, really poor. And they're going to also say that this is like reactionary, but Ole has been the manager now for a long time. He's been the manager since 2018. We're coming into 2022. It's not reactionary. I've watched every Man United game, every friendly, all the shit, right? So I've seen a lot of United, and it's done. The Ole experiment needs to end. It's never working. So I'm going to talk through the game, and maybe you can understand where I'm coming from, because I've written my notes down as normal. So we'll just begin with opening thoughts. It's typical of our season so far. One moment of absolute, quote, brilliance, multiple brain-dead mistakes, patchy build-up play, and a wide-open midfield in a game that we can win. That kind of sums up Manchester United. So, number one, going into this, we're already behind in the title. Not that I think we're going to win the title anyway, but we're already behind in the title, and we've got a massive, difficult fixture run coming up. So this is a, quote, must-win game, right? I know, quote, every game is must-win, but this is actually like, yeah, you need to get points on the board today because we don't know when the next points are coming. So the team sheet's announced. First thing I'm a bit sort of struck with is Maguire is playing. And even in the build-up, they were mentioning, oh, he hasn't trained, he's not fit, but we think we're going to play him. That's just weird. You may as well just come out and be like, yeah, he's fully fit, he's raring to go. Why even give the other team any information that he might be a weak person and he might be someone that they can target? So I was like, why is Maguire playing? But okay. I'm thinking Leicester is not in good form. Really, they're not. And both teams have made 5 changes. And you'll notice this is a common theme, that I think in the last match we made a lot of changes, and then in the other match we made a lot of changes. And most times when I come on these post-match vlogs, I'm saying the same thing. Why are we constantly changing our team all the time? Like, some of them may have been injury. Yes, Varane was unavailable, but we're constantly changing the team all the time, from A to B to C to D. It's like 3 years on, he doesn't know his best team. So 20 minutes in, I've got that Ronaldo really has yet to have a decent ball fed into him comparatively to the Leicester attackers. So let's not compare this to like Man City or Liverpool or anyone. Just compare it to the team you're playing. Leicester, we're playing Leicester. They're not really getting the ball to their strikers early on. We're not getting the ball to our strikers nearly as much as Leicester are early on. And early on, you're thinking, all right, Pogba looks just completely lost, mate. He looks completely lost for Man United. And people will say, well, that's because Pogba's shit, mate. Pogba's terrible. Look, I have my issues with Pogba. Like, anyone has issues with every player. No one's perfect. But if you watch that Nations League final and just the tournament and watch Pogba, if you're really bored and you think I'm wrong, watch the Nations tournament and watch Pogba and watch how he plays for France and watch how he plays for United. They're two different players. He's world class for France. He's not for Man U. So why is that? Because he hasn't played under a single manager that is literally played him in the correct position with the correct system. That's the truth. It's as simple as that. So here's how it goes, right? We have an incredible goal by Greenwood. He's thundered it in from 30 yards, and he was our most dangerous man. But the pattern of play that Man United have is basically we go down one of the sides and we try to square it into midfield, and then regardless of the situation, regardless of if it's on or not, whether there's a better pass or maybe we should just hold on to possession and build some pressure, we shoot. And this is a tactic that Ole likes. It's a tactic that he's vocalised and said that Manchester United live in moments, and the Manchester United he remembers is counter-attacking and magic moments of brilliance. So what we're relying on through the system is a moment of brilliance or some sort of counter attack. Today we had that one moment of brilliance with Greenwood. But the problem is you can't rely on that because game after game after game, there might be a keeper that's having a world-class game or you're just not quite on form. Eventually you need some sort of system to maintain steady results. And I know XG is a bit of a meme and stats are, can be led astray and all of that. But the reality is for a long time under Ole, we're constantly the second best team and we just about survive through sheer player quality and we win or we draw. And he's never gone on that huge run of bad defeats because frankly his squad is so good that the squad that Manchester United have are never going to go on and lose 4 or 5 games on the run. There's not going to be a sackable run of games that happen. So you have to base the sort of performance. You have to base it off the performance because the results are never going to get that bad for Man United. Even during this run, I'm sure we'll pick up points. So I think Shaw's been pretty poor this season. He tends to tuck in way too much, leave his man free to cross. I thought Pogba grew into the game through his own strength and ability, but nothing to do with system or passes, and everyone was just completely lax on the ball. Now, this is where people are going to say, well, you can't sort of legislate or accommodate such bad passing and such sloppy passing. But the thing is, if it happens every single game, that's a problem with the manager. Because do you think, let's say Pep Guardiola, which is the obvious one, do you think Pep Guardiola would accept if his team lost the ball 20, 30 times in midfield for no reason other than just either not been switched on or a sloppy pass? Because that's pretty much what happened today. It wouldn't, would it? They'd be hauled off, there'd be changes, etc. But in this manager's eyes, that's okay because you keep them on because they might do something. That's how it works. It's a bit like, well, this person's not doing that great, but he might have that moment of magic. So I've got loads of notes here, but it all seems a little bit irrelevant to keep banging on about. I've got bits about how there's issues with Maguire for the longest time. Maguire can't turn, he can't run, and honestly, he's always had big mistakes in him. If you watch his entire United career, because now it's not 1 or 2 games, he's not nervous that he's at Man U. He's had a long time at Man U now, relatively, and he's always got this mistake in him. Consistently, he's got that mistake in him as well. It's not a rare brain fault, let's say like Rio might have or something, right? It's a consistent mistake in him, and he's terrified of pace. So what ends up happening is because he's so terrified of getting turned and he's so terrified of playing against pace, he gets nervous and he plays a different style of game that he's even less comfortable with. Then he makes more mistakes. And then the striker thinks to themselves, I might get something today off Maguire. And they pressure him even more. So if they were playing against somebody different, like say a Varane or somebody, they wouldn't even do that. The strikers are only doing that because they know they can get something off him. So it just compounds the issue. Their goal comes with, I'm not going to break down every single goal. You can see the match highlights in the description, but their goal comes, and to be honest, it's another mistake from Maguire. Now, I don't think De Gea does well. He passes it out and it is a bit of a weak pass, but let's be honest, if Maguire was even looking at the ball and he walked to the ball, he still would have beaten his man. So that was mistake 1. And then I don't even think he means to chip De Gea, but you've got to ask De Gea, look, if you stick your hand up and then pull your hand away and leave it and it ends up in the back of the net, it's not a good look, is it? But De Gea this season consistently has saved multiple massive goals. Even in this game, he saved 3 to 4 massive chances. And the thing is, you can't ask your keeper to do much more than that. A keeper isn't meant to save 3 to 4 clear-cut goal chances every match. Like, De Gea is, I hate to say it. Well, I don't hate to say it, but I mean, I guess in a way, I hate to say it because it's unfortunate, but De Gea is back, and we're back to our bloody sloppy defence. So I'm not going to blame De Gea because I thought every match he's saved us, and every time, maybe he made 1 mistake, but you're not expected to save 10 perfect shots every game. Like, he's facing too much again. So I've got so much written down, but honestly, you've got issues like, if you want to check, at 41 minutes 30, Maguire, for no reason, just launches it out into the stands because he's panicking. Now, here's a weird thing. If you actually think about Ollie as an interim manager when we had our best spell, the best spell we ever had came with Matic, Pogba, and Ander Herrera as a 3. You can check that. This is Matic like 3 years younger. This is Ander Herrera as well, and this is Pogba, and they gelled together really, really well. And in a strange way, after all this money spent, we've definitely got higher quality players at the club, but we still actually have a very imbalanced squad. And let's be honest, if a brand new manager was coming into Manchester United and the club was a different name with a different owner or whatever, and they could go and do what they wanted, I honestly could see a situation where they came in and got rid of Wan-Bissaka because the bloke literally cannot attack, and that's such a massive flaw. Lindelof as well, you could see someone getting rid of, and you could see him getting rid of Maguire as well. You could even make a case that somebody might get rid of Shaw, because for every 6-month period he has where he looks like the best left back in the world, he has 30 odd games where he doesn't look anywhere near the level required. That's just the truth. So here's what happens. You write a load of notes of what is the midfield combination. He hasn't got the correct combination of players. And people will begin to think, well, it must be the players, But actually, most of the time, the players are following the manager's instructions almost to a fault. Because you'll notice that when a manager comes in, the styles do change. They all do change very differently. Van Gaal, Mourinho, Ole, Moyes. All of the styles do change, which shows the players are following the manager's instructions. They're not saying, I'm going to ignore Ole and do my own thing. They are following his instructions, and as a result, they're looking worse players than they actually are. The thing is when a team looks entirely disjointed and a team looks entirely dysfunctional for years, which we have done, it's not knee-jerk, then there is something going on that's not just the players. That's the reality. So I don't mind the odd shot. In fact, I actually like the fact that Man U shoot more than other clubs because I think it's exciting and I watch football to be entertained. And I think it's better than permanently trying to walk it in. But when your entire game plan is pass into midfield and just shoot no matter what, yeah, eventually Greenwood's shot might go in, but you're going to have games where nothing goes in and you're just not creating any chances. Ole seems to have this mental block where he seems to think that more attackers equals more attacking. Many, I guess, casual football fans think that as well, that if you put more attackers on, you'll be more attacking, when in fact, adding a defender on can result in being more attacking. That's something that took me a while to understand, that when we would be losing under Fergie, or, you watch a Klopp or you watch a Guardiola losing, and they bring on a defender and you think, and then they start to get control of the game and create more and more chances. We don't control any of the game. We have 4 to 5 attackers on the pitch with Bruno, Pogba, Sancho, Ronaldo, Greenwood, all kind of stood up there trying to be a forward type of player. And then you've got this disjointed midfield, which is basically Matic on his own at this point, who played well. And then the defence, just making permanent mistakes. It's just not good enough. There needs to be a manager that comes in and says, yeah, this ain't good enough. If you keep making these mistakes, I don't care if you're Luke Shaw or you're Maguire or you're Varane or you're Ronaldo, you won't play. I am Ole out, to be honest. I am. I said last match, I didn't want to say it. But yeah, I've watched enough, man. It's never going to work. It's just not. It would have been nice if he could have improved, but let's be honest. He's a club legend. He's a great person. He's helped the club. He wants the best for Man U. But he isn't a title-winning manager. He unfortunately has to go. Let me know what you think, because it was forget all the goals and everything. They could have had 6, 7 goals, 8 goals. Every game we're getting annihilated. And when you're getting annihilated every game, that's not the players. There's something else going on there. So, also just to know, I'm in that mood when I watch Man U. I don't even feel anything when we score, and I don't even feel anything when we concede. Like when Rashford scored and then they instantly replied, I just thought, yeah, that's typical, and I just don't feel anything. Like when I was coming to the end of Van Gaal and Jose, where I was like, this experiment doesn't work. The problem is at Man U, we're a club that is a revenue-based club with parasitical owners, and pretty much, unless for some ridiculous reason he loses 10 in a row, which he won't because the quality of the squad simply won't allow that, even if I was managing it, unless he fails to get top 4, he will still be here. So there's no point even doing a big protest of Ole out. There's no point even mentioning it, even though I have done. It's just like, just turn up, watch the game, feel nothing, get on with it.